Are you listening? Damn.
Alright, so today we do go to Tallahassee, Florida. I'm just going to talk my way through this video. I was kind of running and gunning. I was just filming quickly. I didn't really talk to the camera enough in this video, so we're going to cut back to me in the studio. We're going to do this style of video today, and I think we just have to because I was just running and gunning. I was pond hopping, lake hopping. I went to, I don't know, probably 30 different ponds and lakes in Tallahassee, Florida before I finally found one that I caught a lot of fish. But I think it's important that we, look at these lakes and ponds that I stopped at before I found the one that I was really satisfied with, because a lot of these ponds and lakes, I think I'm going to have to fish them in a future video. I think I'm going to have to make a lot of Tallahassee videos, to be honest, but all in due time, all in due time. But first, we made it's like a 3.5 hour drive to Tallahassee for me. Well, depending on the traffic. And we were about 3 hours in, so we're just outside of Tallahassee, and I stopped at this river, so we'll check that out first. That was our first stop. Got one. So as you can see, I stopped at that river, stretched my legs, got my chatterbait stuck on something, broke it off. I lose a lot of chatterbaits when I'm not sure if there's structure, if there's cover, what's in the water. I lose a lot of chatterbaits when I'm not familiar with the body of water. So I think I'm going to start throwing a spinnerbait in those situations. When I'm like, this is a good chatterbait situation, I think I'm going to throw a spinnerbait. Because those $1 Walmart spinnerbaits, if you've been watching my videos, I've been catching some good fish on those $1 Walmart spinnerbaits. I've been putting a trailer hook on them, and they've been hooking up with some good fish. So they're only $1. If I lose 5 chatterbaits, that's $25 for the $5 chatterbaits. But if I lose 5 $1 spinnerbaits, that's $5. And honestly, they don't get hung up as easily, so I probably wouldn't even lose 5 of them as quick as I would lose 5 chatterbaits. Probably lose 2 or 3 in the time I'd lose 5 chatterbaits. So $2 versus $25. So that's just a little tip. We're gonna go to the next pond here. All right, I got the whopper plopper tied on. We're gonna give this a toss down here. Okay, I finally see a gar. Oh no, I see another one. He did not try to hit. Oh, there he is. There he is. Oh, he pecked at it. The gar pecked at it. It irritated him, but he didn't try to grab it though. All right, well, we had a couple miss hits with some gars down there. The whopper plopper was getting a little bit of action, but the couple little bass that I could see down there, they were just absolutely avoiding that whopper plopper. So we're here for kind of long, so I'm gonna get to the next spot and do some more fishing. If we stuck it out here, if I threw something really small, we could have caught a big bluegill, maybe a gar, maybe a bass, but I want to do some more exploring. I definitely want to see more of what Tallahassee has to offer, so I'm gonna get on the road and get to the next spot. All right, let's go. I could see myself coming out here and maybe the canoe in the future, but since I don't have anything tied on right now, I'm not really gonna throw around this. This could be good. They could blow up on something you have coming across the top of the water, but I think I'd rather find something smaller. So we're gonna try and find maybe a pond. There's still a few lakes that I want to go to and check out and scope out, so maybe my next trip I'll come out in the canoe. But yeah, I'm gonna pass on this one today, but it does look interesting. Munson Lake, noted. So yeah, there was the second stop. The second stop, it looked pretty good. I think I'm gonna fish this spot in the future out of a kayak or canoe or something. Has those cypress trees. Oh man, I love fishing around that kind of stuff. And Tallahassee just looks nice. You know, it reminds me of Ocala. It has those big oak trees, those big cedar trees, and it just looks nice. You know, it has the moss hanging from the trees and stuff. I don't know. I like the way Tallahassee looks. You know, it's got that old country feel to it, but at the same time, you know, when you're in downtown Tallahassee, it has, you know, that urban feel to it. You know, you have Florida State University. You know, you have people. You know, sometimes I really like being in a country atmosphere, but eventually I'm like, man, I miss people. But Tallahassee has best of both worlds. You know, it does have people, and that's what I did next. I explored Tallahassee, like the downtown. I was driving through the university. I was driving through, you know, the more urban neighborhoods and stuff. And I really was going to a lot of ponds. I'm not going to bother showing you all of them, but I did find one that looked pretty cool, so I'll show you that one. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I was walking down like this concrete ramp. It was like this little pond. I was just throwing a whopper plopper around. I saw some minnows and stuff moving in there, so I think there was some fish. I don't know if there was bass in there though. I didn't confirm it. I didn't have any mishits. But the whopper plopper is not like the best thing to throw in that situation when you're fishing a new body of water. But I love fishing the whopper plopper, so I was just throwing it around having fun. And I didn't get any bites there, but it looked pretty interesting. It looked good. I've seen a lot of ponds in neighborhoods and stuff that look like it would be hard to fish, and that one looked like it'd be easy to fish. But yeah, so from there we went to, what was that lake called? Lake Talquin, was it? But we went out to this lake, and I casted a few casts around at the boat ramp. This was a huge lake, huge. I mean, I only went to one boat ramp. There's tons of boat ramps, but I'll show you a couple clips of fishing at that boat ramp. So you can see there was big waves out on this water. I mean, I can't even bring a canoe out there. I'm not going to be able to fish this place unless I come with someone that has a boat. Like that. I mean, it was pretty windy. It was pre-Hurricane Eta conditions. But yeah, I don't know. That's a pretty big body of water. That might be hard to fish in the future. There might be some giants in there though. If you're in Tallahassee, Florida, you can let me know. But I imagine there's probably some giants in there. But it doesn't look like something I'd be able to fish without being on a boat with someone. But yeah, that place looked big. There were some big waves. But yeah, the next place was probably the coolest looking out of all the places that I went to. So check this place out that I stumbled across.
I feel like I'm in like a Lake Placid movie and something is about to really go wrong. Oh. All right, here we go. First cast. All right, time to walk back across the rotten wood. That could have been worse. Whew.
All right, so I stumbled across like this old wooden dock, and I had to like walk over it, as you could see, and it was like broken, and it was really sketchy, you know? It was really sketchy. And I was casting around there. There's only a few spots I could even cast that might have some fish. The rest was just really tall grass where your lure can't even get down in that stuff. And not the lure I had tied on anyways. Maybe if you were punching, you know, you could. But where I was casting to, I didn't get any bites. So I just left there. It was very limited areas that I could fish there, but it was a really cool little location that I found. So that was cool, but no fish there, no fish there. So we moved on to the next place. Okay, so I'm using Google Maps, right? I'm looking at Google Maps as I'm driving. Like, I will pick a location. I'm going to Lake blah, blah, right? And as I drive there, I'm looking at Google Maps, and it shows these little blue ponds everywhere, especially downtown Tallahassee. And so as I'm driving, I'm like, okay, up here on the right is a pond. Let me check it out. And so I would come up to it and go, there's nothing there. like it was empty retention ponds. There was a lot of dried up retention ponds in Tallahassee. I didn't realize there's parts of Florida that have dried up quite a bit. Where I live is actually one of those places. I didn't realize Tallahassee has that many places that were dried up. Like, there were like a million empty retention ponds. I did find some that had water, but a lot of the places I saw were just empty retention ponds. You know, on Google Maps it said there was water there, and at one time there probably was, but there wasn't when I was driving by it. But I did go to this park, and I fished this one lake. You can check that out now. Alright, so I just made a handful of casts right here. I'm at Lake Leon, but I'm not spending very long at each place. Coming here and making a handful of casts, I don't get a bite, I'm moving on. So hopefully we catch a fish with this strategy, but I do want to make sure I explore as many spots as possible so that in the future when I come here, I know where I want to go, you know? Right now, I just don't know enough about Tallahassee, so we're gonna keep exploring, and who knows, we might find a really good spot and stay there and keep fishing. They also have a pretty cool park here too, so. But all right, time to get on the road. So I just kind of left there and went to my next spot, but it did look like a good spot. It looks like there's probably fish there. It looks like a place that's hard to fish. So maybe like the beginner fishermen, the beginner anglers, you know, they don't pressure it a whole lot because it's a hard place to probably fish. So that probably makes a pretty good spot, you know. But I think you got to fish there one of those days that the fish are roaming around and they're not deep in that grass and that vegetation, because it can be hard to fish that stuff. But yeah, so we go from there to our next spot. Actually, we drive all around. So I searched downtown quite a bit, and I went to a number of lakes like this one and a couple others that I talked about. But then we go like all around Tallahassee, because like I started thinking about fishing with Norm. I watch his videos and stuff, and I've seen all the places they fish, and I'm like, you know, he fishes downtown. I see him like fishing some kind of urban ponds and stuff, but mostly I feel like I see him fishing rural areas. So I'm like, maybe I should be, because this is all I know about Tallahassee is what I've seen from him, you know. So it's like, all right, maybe I'll search outside of downtown Tallahassee. So I was driving all around outside Tallahassee, all the rural areas, coming up to every pond I could think of. And I actually, at one point, I drove over the state line. So, I mean, we were driving for hours out there in the middle of, past Tallahassee, really. We were going northwest of Tallahassee, way up there, north of Tallahassee, way up there, northeast of Tallahassee, way up there, way east of Tallahassee. I was kind of driving around everywhere, just trying to find a good pond, you know what I mean? And at one point, I ended up in Georgia, so check this out. All right, so when I tell you all I have explored all of Tallahassee and I was exploring all around Tallahassee, I mean
all of Tallahassee and all around Tallahassee. So much so that I just found myself, welcome to Leon County. Florida starts here. I'm standing in Georgia right now. And now I'm standing in Florida. So, I mean, I've been traveling all over the place looking for ponds and lakes to fish and haven't really had much luck, but we're gonna keep on going and we're gonna find some places that have some fish, and hopefully we find some places that we just have to come back to and fish some more in the future. But let's get back on the road and let's find some fishing spots in Tallahassee. All right, I'm a little ways away from Tallahassee right now, but I was in Tallahassee. I was in downtown Tallahassee, all over the place, but not now. All right, let's get on the road.
So there you have it. I ended up crossing over the Georgia line. I had one step in Georgia, one step in Florida. You know, I was in two places at once, you know, two states at once. And so after that, I drove for a little bit longer. I continued on my journey, driving all around rural areas. I found this one pond. I didn't want to fish it though, because I wanted to fish it with straight braid. I might have to, this might be one of the places I stop at next time I go to Tallahassee though. I don't have it on camera, okay? Excuse me, I had to burp. But I saw these lily pads, this pond in the middle of the woods. And I just slowed down and just kind of eyeballed it from the street, you know? And it was just, it looked like a really nice lily pad pond. And I'm like, man, I got to fish this with braid. I had braid to fluorocarbon leader, but I just put that on like a few days ago. You know, I didn't want to cut off my leader. I was like, nah, I still want to keep my leader on. So I didn't fish that. I'm saving that spot, I think, to fish another day. And then, you know, I kept driving around out in the rural area, and then I found this spot, and this is when we catch fish. We catch like 7 fish. So this is the spot that we found that has some fish. I'm sure this is what a lot of you were waiting for, but we had fun exploring up to this point, you know. You definitely don't want to get skunked, though, so I'm glad I found this place and finally decided to fish. By the time I found this place, I didn't have time to like keep exploring. It was like, we're gonna have to really fish this one. Like, there's no more time. I think we had like 45 minutes left to fish when we finally found this place. So check this out. This is when we found a pond that had some fish, and here you go.
Got one right here. All right. We got a fish in Tallahassee. It finally happened. All right, caught a fish. Can't see it very well, but I can see there's some kind of stick in the water there. So I just threw it near there, moved this by it, and sure enough, fish was under there. It came out and grabbed it. That's a fish. That's a fish. All right. Woo. Got one. Got one. Another dink, but hey, we caught another fish. Woo. All right. All right. Woo. So here's a little tip. When you're fishing a spot that has a bunch of little bass in it, it can be tough to feel the bite a lot of the times. Like those last 2 fish I just caught, I didn't actually feel the bite. But see, look, I cast it out there and I'll reel in the slack so that my line's tight, so that you can feel the bite. But sometimes even with those small fish, even when your line is tight like mine is right now, you can't feel the bite. But if you watch your line, that's the tip right there, and you see it just move just a slight bit. And a lot of people know this, but not everyone does. So if you just watch your line, you got to watch your line and feel for the bite. And I mean, heck, depending on how I'm fishing, sometimes I'm not watching my line. Sometimes I'm really paying attention how something feels. Like I just fished with a chatterbait and I was around a lot of grass, and I don't even think I was looking at my line at all because I was concentrating so much on what my chatterbait was bumping into. So, you know, this type of fishing, you do want to watch your line. I try to sprinkle in some tips while I'm fishing if I can. So I had just a little bit of time left on my GoPro. I made one last cast, and sure enough, I hooked into a bass. I was bringing it back in. I looked down at my camera and seen it wasn't recording. In that split second that I looked down at that and I didn't keep pressure on that fish, I lost it. It wasn't very big, so it was just another small one. It was actually, well, I should say that it was a little bit bigger than these other two, but it wasn't a giant though. But yeah, so I just checked my line, and sure enough, I need to retie. And hopefully, if we can't catch that one, maybe a bigger one. Probably made like 10, 11 casts, and we caught 2 fish on this, and we caught 1 on the black and blue. But we caught 2 fish on this, and then we just hooked into a 3rd one in like 10 casts. There's a bite right there. Got him. See? Oh, that's better. That's a little better. Not much better, but he's better. Yeah, not much better. Had a little bit of grass with them too. They're not very big, but when you hook set them way back here on the cheek, they do feel pretty good. And when they're only this big and they're getting that hook way back on the cheek, that means they're eating it good. So, I mean, obviously they are. You see how many we're catching in a short amount of time, but we're gonna toss this back. Heck, I'd love to catch a bunch, even if they're small. It's fun, you know, even small ones. Sometimes, you know, I go out and I try to catch a lot of big fish pretty often. That's usually what I do on this channel. But, you know, once in a while, when you just have one of those days where you just catch a ton of dinks, it's still pretty fun. You know, you're still catching fish. It's still fun, you know. Better than, oh man, this thing is getting kind of tore up. I think it can last one more fish. And for the record, these are Senkos or stick baits. These are the gambler ones. I just started using these for the first time, and I've been catching fish on these. The one thing I notice is they have a garlic smell and taste to them, enhanced with gambler bite, and that gambler bite is going to be garlic. And I tell you, a lot of times when I'm fishing, I have that chartreuse dip from Walmart that has garlic flavor on it. I usually dip my baits in that because I tend to catch more fish when I have that garlic on my bait. And now I don't need to dip it unless I want the chartreuse color. But now I don't need to dip it because it tastes like, you know, that garlic already. Got one. All right. Oh, my worm fell off. I had to put a new one on there. All right. Got another one. Oh, it's a bluegill. Oh, wait, no. I feel like an idiot right now. I don't know what this is, but we definitely just caught it on a 4-aught extra wide gap hook. Check out this guy. Check out that guy. All right. Let's get him back in there though. Got bit. Got him. He's not very big, but we did catch another fish. All right.
If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And if you like the video, please hit the like button. And that's going to be it for today on Real Journey. And just a tip. I like to leave my videos with a tip. So here's a tip. Use Google Maps. You know, it just works. It just works, you know. I mean, maybe I'll make a more in-depth video about using Google Maps when you fish, but it's pretty simple, you know. I think 99% of us, maybe even more than that, know how to use Google Maps, you know, when you're finding spots and stuff like that. But, quick tip is, go to the blue. When you see a blue circle, that's a pond, that's a lake. Go to that, check it out. Make sure you're not in private property. Make sure it's public. And if you're allowed to fish it, fish it. Find out if there's fish there. But that's going to be it for today on Real Journey. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we're out.